Today we'll discuss about dehydration. So acids, if we react that with P4O10, right, so that will strongly act like a dehydrating agent here, and you'll get this as an anhydrate. So we'll get RC double bond O, OC double bond O, R, an anhydrate plus H2. Keep writing with me, anhydride formation. In case of phthalic acid, we'll also get an anhydrate here. Phthalic anhydrate is formed. So we'll get double bond O here, and we'll get this. Okay. Now, when you have formic acid on direct heating, we will get this as CO plus H2. Alright. So imagine like the same H is also getting dehydrated. So this OH and H dehydrate to form, H2O. Keep writing, everyone. Next, if you have general carboxylic acid here, right, in the presence of AlPO4, now this will dehydrate within the molecule. So considering this carbon has at least one hydrogen present on it, one alpha hydrogen must be present, so that we will get this as RCH double bond C double bond O. So we'll get a ketene form. Okay, this is what happens with aluminium phosphate. In case of oxalic acid, either on heating or reacting with concentrated H2SO4, both on heating or reacting with concentrated H2SO4 and heat. In both the cases, we will get carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and H2O. So it will get dehydrated. No mechanisms needed for this. Just go through the dehydration steps. Just keep on removing that water. You will be able to understand. Got that, everyone? Right. So that is about the dehydration step. Now this is a very important area. Please remember this and understand the technique carefully. For hydroxy acids, for amino acids as well as dioic acids, the way to do the question is exactly same. So to understand what to be done, in case if you have an alpha hydroxy, so I have written it here already. Okay, so if we have an alpha hydroxy, on heating we might expect it to dehydrate, but here since there can't be any dehydration or esterification happening with this close group, so if you take 2 moles of it, it will cyclize into this ester formation. Okay, so how is it done? You can see that the H from here and OH from here will dehydrate, and OH from here and H from here will dehydrate. This is what happens in esterification. So in esterification, we'll remove this water. OH comes from acid, H comes from alcohol. Here also OH comes from acid, H comes from alcohol. Remove that and add that connection, so you'll get this cyclic diester. Okay, so wherever you have, even if you have NH2, you will get diamide. So same kind of reactions has to be done. So we'll go one by one. Keep writing that. So in beta hydroxy, we will get this product. If we have beta hydroxy, in case if we have beta hydroxy, how does that reaction take place? In case of beta hydroxy, this OH and H, if you can dehydrate, the double bond is formed, and double bond will be a stable form with an acid. Got it? So elimination is more preferred here on heating. So minus H2O, where this H and OH will be relieved, to get this as double bond COOH. So we'll get alpha beta unsaturated acid. Okay, that is with beta hydroxy group. If the position at gamma, right, so you can see this is alpha, beta and gamma position. So if the hydroxy is at gamma position, this time esterification will take place within the molecule. So OH from here, sorry, H from here and OH from here will dehydrate and close the ring. The ring size should be either 5 or 6. 4 and 7 does not usually cyclize here. So we can see that we have C double bond O, which is first position, second, third, fourth, and ring closes with oxygen. So we would have this as O and double bond this. This is the way it will get oxidized. This is the way it will get dehydrated. Alright. So we are getting a cyclic ester form. Okay, so that's with the gamma hydroxy group. Next, if we have delta, that is alpha, beta, gamma, delta hydroxy acids, even they will give the cyclization because they can go up to 6-membered ring. So double bond O and this same cyclic ester is formed. I guess all of you me keep doing that. Now after delta, if OH is here or further, which means this whole X, this CH2 groups, if they are greater than or equal to 5, now cyclization might give 7-membered ring, so it becomes difficult for it to form. Hence, it would rather go for polymerization than cyclization. So now what will it do? OH from this end, H from this end will keep cyclization on left hand side and right hand side and will become a polymer. And this is becoming an ester form. This side will have OR, this side will have C double bond. So this is becoming a polyester. So that's how polyesters are formed. Condition is important. X should be greater than or equal to 5. Then on heating we will get polyesters. I guess this point is clear, everyone. Now see the same logic for amino acids now. If we have to heat amino acids, what is the product you will get? Apply the same logic the way we have done just now. Okay. If you take amino acids, if it is at alpha position, we will take 2 moles of that and cyclize it to form cyclic amides. So NH, C double bond O, C double bond O, NH, and this. This is the cyclization. This is with alpha amino acids. Same logic apply for the next one. Here also, in case of beta, we will get alpha beta unsaturated acids, alpha beta unsaturated acids. Okay. Releasing out that NH3. Try the same thing for gamma now. In case of gamma amino acids, because it can form a 5-membered ring, it will become a cyclic amide. See the delta form now. Even in delta, we will have a cyclic amide formation, double bond O and this 6-membered ring. Now this time the heating effect is seen on dicarboxylic acids. On dicarboxylic acid, how does the reaction happen? Let's see that. If we have alpha carboxy acids, okay, here it is malonic acid, on heating we will get CH3COH, and this is a very important logic. We will be seeing a lot of questions based on this. This would happen in a single concerted step, alright, where you will see the lone pair on this oxygen will attack on this hydrogen and makes a bond there. Oxygen will break a bond to get a double bond formation, and from here this bond breaks and becomes a double bond on the other side. Okay, so as if this bond is breaking, I mean this bond will anyway break to make the lone pair on the oxygen. So you can see this will become a single bond with OH. Here it will become a double bond O. Okay, and this bond will break to make here a double bond formation. Therefore, we will have this as CH2 double bond C, OH and OH. So you can see an enol form is observed, and this enol form will tautomerize to give CH3 C double bond O, OH. and the other product which has come is carbon dioxide, CO2. Okay, make a note of it. So wherever you find alpha carboxy acids, so you have to remove that carbon dioxide and get into the form of ketone. Sorry, get in the form of this acid, single acid. If we have succinic acid, alright, here on heating it will simply dehydrate and forms an anhydride. So we will have double bond O, double bond O, O, and this. What is this one? This is succinic anhydride. Succinic anhydride. Next case, if you observe, here also we can have an anhydride because this forms a 5-membered ring. So this will make a 6-membered ring. So we can have this anhydride formation. So this is coming from glutaric acid. This is a glutaric acid. So this will become glutaric anhydride. Keep practicing, guys. Now here if we dehydrate, anhydride formation will give a 7-membered ring, so which is not favorable. So instead now it will go similar to that of dry distillation cases. What happened in dry distillation? This entire carbon dioxide will come out and this CH2 will get connected to this C double bond O, right? And that's how it will become a keto form. So cyclic ketone is formed here plus carbon dioxide is released. Got it? So if you have more than 6 carbons, you should, 6 carbons or 7 carbons, you should go for this. So we'll get a 5-membered cyclic ketone. Got it? So think this way, this bond makes, here, this will close here, this will become C minus, it will attack here, got it? And this will come out as CO2, and as it attacks here, then H2O from here, so this OH and H will come out as H2O. So you can imagine this will come out as H2O and rest of it go as CO2, and that's how we will get this product. See the next one. Here we got a 5-membered ring. Now the same logic applies here to get the 6-membered ring. Now check out how many methyl groups we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to 5 methyl groups, right? We would get dehydrated product. Got it? If you have more than this, it might either polymerize or no reaction will be seen. Got it? So you would normally not be asked about what happens more than these many methyl groups. So you can see this is up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N is equal to 5 methyl groups, CH2 groups. So far what we have done is dehydration or decarboxylation in some cases. We have seen hydroxy, amino as well as dioic acid. Now exclusively decarboxylation. We know that there are many ways by which we can do that, out of which SLDC is one, soda lime decarboxylation. When we react acid and base, carboxylic acid and NaOH, we will get this carboxylate salt. That if you further react in the presence of NaOH and CaO, we saw that it will form RH plus Na2CO3. Mechanism we have learned it before, so we don't have to go again and again. This is soda lime decarboxylation. Beta keto acids, just like what we have seen in dioic acid, the same observation is seen here also. See, this lone pair will make a bond here, correct? And this bond will break to make a double bond here, and this bond will make a double bond here. So first we will get an enol form, and this enol plus CO2 is formed, and this enol will tautomerize to get keto form. So I will get this ketone. So this we'll be using in problem solving a lot of times. So remember, beta keto acids on heating will give you ketones. Is also a concerted step. Coal-based electrolysis also you have come across. So let me just repeat that. If you have electrolysis, RCH2CO minus, we will get this as a coupled product of alkanes. Usually what happens, we will see that at anode RCH2COO minus will oxidize to form RCH2COO dot plus 1 electron, and from this carbon dioxide is removed and we would get this as RCH2 dot, and this 2 moles of RCH2 dot is what we will get terminated product as alkanes. So the alkane formation is observed. But if you already have two COH groups, the radicals will terminate within the molecule. So which means first we will have CO minus, which on electrolysis, okay, I have already written that step, so I'll write it as CO dot, that will first become carbon dioxide and get radical forms here, and this radical will terminate to form alkene, right? Same way here also, if you see, first CO dot is formed here, that 2 moles of uh, carbon dioxide will be released, and this will terminate here itself to form alkyne. Okay, you may have looked out into the cases where we have tertiary group present, then we will see a little bit of disproportionation also happening. So we will see that first dot is created here, or rather we'll write all the steps. CO dot, which will give carbon dioxide and becomes 3-degree radical here, and if we expect that they will couple and terminate here, this product would be minor. So very less amount of this alkane is formed, coupled product is formed. Got it? At the same time, if you see this dot getting disproportionated, CH2H, and with another dot here, we are expecting it will accept this H dot from here, and we will get an alkene plus an alkane here. They will also be in a minor amounts. Got it? This disproportionation will also happen. Definitely they'll be better than this, okay, but there would be sufficient, because in the solution there would be sufficient amount of this C double bond O dot which will be present, okay, and this is less hindered, so this would have more chances to terminate. Correct. So which means this plus this dot, these two will terminate to give C double bond O and O with this. So we are getting an ester. So this would be the major product. Another case where decarboxylation takes place is by ipso substitution, where we have COOH, right, on strong heating in acidic medium. So it would form, this hydrogen will come and carbon dioxide will be released. So this is the ipso substitution. This is beta keto acid because this is alpha and beta. So beta keto acids, wherever we have, on heating carbon dioxide will easily come out. So the product has to be keto, cyclic keto plus CO2. Next one, you can see first COH, this is also alpha and beta. Okay, and we just learned that this is like a malonic acid. In malonic acid also, one CO2 will come out and this acid would remain. So first we will get double bond O, and COOH here, and that on further heating, because now it has become beta keto acid, so we'll get another CO2. Here also we got CO2. So 2 moles of CO2 will come. With respect to this COH, this is beta, so I'll remove that. With respect to this COH, this is beta, I will remove that. With respect to this COH, this is beta, I'll remove that. So 3 moles anyway have come. Then with respect to this double bond, with respect to this CO, this is at beta keto position, so which means this will also come out. With respect to this COH, this is also beta keto, so which means this will also come out. So what is the product I can have? Product will be double bond O, COOH plus 5 moles of carbon dioxide. Here, instead of keta, now it is an alkene. At beta position, there is an alkene group. As long as it can cyclize here in the transition state, we will see that carbon dioxide can be removed. So if you see how it can happen here, so I'll just take a little up. Yeah. See how it will happen here. So we have a double bond here, right, with CH2, and we can get hydrogen with oxygen connected having carbon with OH, double bond O, like this. Now this pi bond will try to make a bond with this hydrogen here. On heating, this will break and this bond will break to make a double bond. So you could see we are getting this this double bonded carbon which was there, it would become CH3 and a double bond will come here plus CO2 is formed. And if this top carbon here, the double bonded carbon, is an isotopic one, then we will get double bond here with CH3 and this will be carbon 14 plus carbon dioxide would be released. Those who are able to do, keep doing, okay? Don't wait for me, keep completing. The same case here also, instead of that double bond, instead of that beta keto or something, this time we have nitro group. The possibility is same. So this O will, attach with this H from here, okay, and then double bond will form here. After that again the tautomerization takes place, so we will get O minus N double bond O and CH3, that will be the final product plus CO2, or in short I'll write this as CH3 NO2. Here also removing CO2 will get a double bond here, this will become CH3, so we'll get toluene. Next one, check it out. See, on hydrolysis, please remember this, cyanates on hydrolysis will become carboxylic acids. So instead of directly giving carboxylic acid, the starting material might be given with cyanates, but they will convert into carboxylic acids. So first do that and then heat it. As per the question, just heat that. So you can see with respect to this COOH, this is at the beta position and this is beta keto anyway, so this will also be removed. Alright, so what do we have here is double bond O and COOH and COOH. Now if you see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 carbon. 4 carbon can undergo dehydration, right? So it will form an anhydrate formation. So we'll have double bond O like this, with O here, with double bond O and double bond O. So that will be the anhydrate formation. Keep doing that, everyone. Right. Next one, you can see this is pyridinic acid. So where you have pyridine and then COH connected to that. Here also on heating, we will get pyridine form plus CO2. Okay. So to understand the mechanism, you can just check this. First we have this pyridine group with C double bond O, O and H. So the lone pair on it will attack on this hydrogen, takes that away, and then double bond will form here and this bond will move. Okay, so which makes it pyridinium form here, first negative sign here, H positive. So it will take away that H plus and we'll have N and H here. So pyridine is formed. So I guess the dehydration cases and decarboxylation cases are clear to all of you. Okay, I have added one more sheet I have given you already that has a lot more questions other than this. Okay, so there all we have compared decarboxylation only. Okay. So sometimes question would be given like, we have to compare uh, rate of decarboxylation. Instead of directly giving us this question, you might be asked like, if you have NCOOH, right, and NCOOH, rate of decarboxylation, right? So this will be better. Just on heating, you can remove that CO. Any doubt there? Okay. Now let's come to one important reaction here. In decarboxylation, there are only two new reactions. I mean, in carboxylic acid, mainly there are two new reactions. This one is the one, Hofmann bromamide degradation, and second one is the HVZ reaction. Got it? So let us see this one, Hofmann bromamide degradation. So what exactly is happening here? See, if you take an amide and any amide here, that when you treat with bromine or any halide and NaOH in basic medium, this will convert into an amine, removing out NaBr and Na2CO3. Okay guys, so let's see how the reaction proceeds. Amides are relatively more neutral than amines, and their basicity is very less. So OH minus will extract the proton because you are adding strong basic group here, and it will form NH minus here, and this will act like a nucleophile and attacks on bromine and will get an N-bromoamide. So you can see we had an N-bromoamide formation, Br minus has left. So Br here is being attached as an electrophile. So N is attacking bromine, it has become an attachment with nitrogen. As an electrophile it got attached, Br minus has come out. Now if Br minus is present, this is a withdrawing group, Br minus is withdrawing group, so that will in fact increase the acidity of this hydrogen more, right? So OH minus will further remove this H plus here and becomes N-bromo, amide ion here, N minus, correct? Once you get this, can you see this is a similar Wolff rearrangement where I told you that whenever we have C double bond O and R is attached or H is attached, that group will migrate to the one which has minus charge on it. Okay, so you will see that migration happening here. So if you check it out, this R will get migrated onto nitrogen The condition is there must be a leaving group. Okay, there must be a leaving group here, good leaving group. So bromine is a good leaving group here, got it? And that bromine will leave, and this lone pair will become a double bond here, correct? This will become R N double bond C double bond O, okay, plus Br minus. This will become isocyanate. Usually this reaction happens very slowly, and since this is the slow step, which is the RDS of the reaction as well. Okay, right. It was earlier believed that there may be formation like this: C double bond O, N minus, Br is present, so Br might leave, and we might get RC double bond N with this. Okay, this is nitrene. But the nitrene formation, are very much in traces. Rather, we can say there is hardly any nitrene formed. So if in exam you come across this nitrene, say no to it. Okay, so there is no formation of nitrene. Directly a concerted step will take place here, and Br minus will come, making isocyanate. Got it? So remember this doesn't form. Yeah. And once you get an isocyanate on hydrolysis will remove this carbon dioxide and gets RNH2 here. See, lone pair on nitrogen will extract this proton, will have RNH double bond C double bond O plus. Okay. As soon as we get that, it will pull away its electrons, which means the nucleophile water will attack on carbon, and we will get this as RNH with OH2 plus double bond O. And the lone pair on nitrogen will take the proton transfer here, and you will get this as RNH with COH and double bond O plus. Alright. Again H2O will attack on carbon, so that this bond will break and nitrogen will get that bond, and we'll get this as RNH2 plus 2 OH group on carbon dioxide, that will turn out to be C double bond O, that will turn out to be carbon dioxide. Okay, and since solution has NaOH present, so this NaOH will react with NO2 to form Na2CO3. So these are the final products, NH2 and Na2CO3. Got it. In short, remember this: isocyanates on hydrolysis will always give us RNH2 and CO2. Got it. This is also called a step down reaction, because if you see, we started off with C double bond O, and this double bond O has lost, so which means one carbon will be less in the main chain. That's why it is also called as the step down reaction. You can see it is a step down reaction. Okay. Next, if you see bromine, like I said, when we are attacking bromine here, it was entering like an electrophile, but after the form, it is leaving, where is it? Yeah, here. It is leaving like a nucleophile. Alright, so you see it is leaving like a nucleophile. So bromine enters like an electrophile, leaves like a neutrophile, and there is no formation of nitrene, or very traces amount of nitrene is formed, so that we can ignore it. And the intermediate which is formed is isocyanate. These are the important pointers of Hofmann-Bromomide degradation. Let's see what are the limitations of this Hofmann-Bromomide degradation reactions. Everyone done? Yeah, check this. So if you have N-alkyl amides which are with 6 carbon chains or 6 carbon atoms or more, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbon atoms or more, it becomes very difficult to make this Wolff rearrangement. Okay, very high temperature is required, where the carbon-carbon bond will even break. So pyrolysis might take place. So at if carbons are more than 6, then this reaction is relatively avoided. So remember that it is mostly for the smaller carbon chains. Next, in case if you have alpha halo group at the alpha position, if there is an halogen group, then what will happen? First, this chlorine will get replaced by OH. Got it? You will have this OH group present here, right? Some amount of elimination product might also come here. So you can see, OH minus can extract proton from here, and we might get an alkene form also. So some amount will be lost there. Some amount we might have a substitution product here. Got it? So this way you can have elimination substitution products forming. At the same time, this might even go further to form that isocyanate, because this NH2 will have OH minus will react with this H plus, and it will again react with this bromine. So I'm directly writing the product here. So you might get this. Okay. Right. Now once you get this isocyanate formation here, which means if this migration happens and double bond will form here, so N double bond C double bond O. So this carbon, which also has OH, will have direct contact with N C double bond O. And on hydration we will have OH and NH2 formed. Okay. Now OH and NH2 in the basic medium, just pull this down. In this basic medium, if you check it out, OH minus, this might again extract this proton, and we'll have O minus, NH2, and this will close as double bond, removing out that NH2. So we will get keto compounds as well. So we will have this keto compounds as well. So final products may not have any amount of amine. Okay, so this amine won't be formed. Keto will be majorly formed. Okay, majorly in a sense which is coming from this process, from Hofmann bromamide degradation. Next, if we have a triple bond, got it, and the alpha position, if you have a triple bond here, do the reaction the way Hofmann bromamide degradation happens first, and let's say this nitrogen comes here, right? So which means first let us expect it forms CH3, CH2, C triple bond C, and this gets connected with NH2. It's a step down reaction. The easiest way is to just remove C double bond. Okay, in Hofmann bromamide, wherever you see, wherever there is C double bond, just remove and connect that NH2. Right. Once you get this NH2 here, it is connected with a strong withdrawing group here. Got it? Because of this strong withdrawing group, so the OH minus can extract a proton from here, and it would become CH3, CH2, C triple bond C, NH minus, and this would be in equilibrium. And this will again resonance stabilize with this carbon. So we will get CH3, CH2, we'll get CH3, CH2, C minus double bond C double bond NH, and this on hydrolysis will become CH3, CH2, CH double bond C double bond NH. Imagine this happens one more time. OH minus is attacking this H, removing that, so we will get CH3. So we will get CH3, CH2, CH double bond C double bond N minus. So it will close here, C minus is formed. Again on hydrolysis we will get cyanides. So C H2 C triple bond N. So that will be the final product. Got it? So if the alpha position is covered by C triple bond C, then there is a chance it forms cyanides. This Hofmann bromamide mechanism, why we have to discuss it more, because most of the reactions will go through the same routes, and henceforth we'll see all the reactions will go through the same route here. First reaction, see, acid, if you treat that with hydrozoic acid, carboxylic acid in hydrozoic acid, right, it will go through a route where it forms isocyanide only. How it happens, we'll discuss through mechanism, don't worry about it. So it will go through that isocyanide formation. This we just learned, Halfman bromamide degradation. Same way, if you have acid chlorides reacted with azides, that will also form through isocyanate. Okay, and in case if you have hydroxyl amide, this is hydroxyl amide, that if you treat with TSCl, tosylation, that will also go through Hoffman isocyanate formation. Same reaction, same mechanism. Then in case of HNO2, this is hydrazine, right? So hydrazine will form N2 plus here, that will also give isocyanate formation. Got it? All of these have various names here. Okay. As much as J syllabus is concerned, only this one Schmid reaction is there for you. Okay, and this one is there for you. Rest of them, as a name, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, but anyways, let me give you the name as well for all of them. This one, okay, I've written it here. This is Curtius rearrangement. This is Lawson's rearrangement. Correct? This is diazonium reaction. Let's see one by one how it happens. First, check out with Curtius. In Curtius, we have acid chlorides reacted with azide. Okay, so you can expect azide as a nucleophile attacks here. It will go through SNTD mechanism, and through SNTD mechanism, we can expect that N3 will get substituted, Cl minus will leave. Okay, so once you get this is the structure of RC double bond O N3. This is how it looks like. Right. Now you can see the same problem here also. N2 is a good leaving group. Check out carefully, it is a good leaving group, and we have N minus charge on it. So we can expect that this migration will take place. Wolff rearrangement will take place. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So we would have Rn C double bond O, Rn double bond C double bond O plus N2. So we got an isocyanate formation, and we learned that role of isocyanate. Hydrolyze it, will get amines. Okay. So I hope the reaction with Curtius is clear. Lawson's reaction is, first we'll take hydroxyl amide, and we know that lone pair on oxygen will go in OH will undergo tosylation, right? So first we will see OTS is forming here, right? Again same thing, OTS is a good leaving group, so OH minus will attack here, generates that negative charge on it. Again Wolff rearrangement, this group will leave, and this will make double bond formation, and you will get isocyanate formation. From hydrazine, you can see that we know that in the presence of primary amines, okay, when we treat that with HNO2, we'll have N double bond O electrophile, on which NH2 will attach, and it will get this N2 formation. In basic medium, again OH will take away this proton, N2 is better leaving group. So can you see it is Lawson's is converted same as that of Curtius. Alright. So again you will get this, R will migrate here, this will become double bond, N2 will leave. Same isocyanate formation. Okay. Last, Schmidt reaction. In Schmidt reaction, you can see RC double bond O OH acid, right? That will get protonated first, H plus. OH2 has become leaving group now, on which this azide will attack. Correct? I mean hydrozoic acid will attack. Okay. So from the lone pair where it has, that will attack on this, and OH2 will be removed. As OH2 removes, we will have this group, and you can see this as after the attack of this H plus will come out of it. Again you have the same system. So we have an electron N2 as a leaving group, and R will attack here, double bond will close, N2 will leave. Correct. Okay. So all of these reactions, Lawson's, Schmidt, Curtius and Isonium, all of them will give isocyanates only, including Hofmann bromamide degradation. So if you learn Hofmann properly, all of them are similar terms. Okay. Is this clear? Eventually the product is amines only. Eventually we will get primary amines on hydrolysis. Now if you have an amide, right, and directly amides are treated with reducing agent like lithium aluminum hydride, they will convert directly to amine, and this is not a step down reaction, all the carbons are intact. Correct. So either we have an amide form or hydroxyl amide form, all of them will give us amines, basic amines. So as much as syllabus, this is not there in syllabus, amides is not as a separate chapter, but Hofmann bromamide degradation is there in the syllabus. So from there you can check out, this is the reactions for amides. Now esterification is something which we have done earlier. We will just go through the mechanism once again. Let's check it out. For formation of ester, we need an acid alcohol in an acid to get esters. Okay, so is this a catalytic acid? So in the acid form, we know that OH from the acid and H from the alcohol will come out as water, and rest will be formed as ester, and this in the presence of an acidic medium. Okay. Without acid also reaction might take place, but it would be very slow. Acid will catalyze the reaction to happen at a good rate. Now see the reactions, how it happens. We know that the lone pair present on this oxygen will attack on this after protonation, because it gets protonated here and then OH will attach. From there we will get OH and this H will come out, and we will get this as ester form and H2O. So we have done the complete mechanism before, so we don't have to worry about writing each and every step here again. One thing you need to know in esterification is that if there is an isotopic oxygen, what would happen? If it is in the acid here, got it? What are all the chances of esters we can get? One without this one with isotopic oxygen here, or one with isotopic oxygen here. Okay. Which is most favorable out of these three? If you check it out, this isotopic oxygen, because you are relieving out this H plus and OH, correct? This OH can be lost completely, or after resonance, if you see, this is what has formed. The leaving group could be this OH2 or this OH2. So there may be oxygen, there may be isotopic oxygen present, or they may not be present, but definitely if you see this oxygen which is coming, that will be from alcohol only. So which means this cannot be the product, either this can be the product or this can be the. We have come across resolution also, the method by which we separate the racemic mixture. See, suppose if you have a racemic mixture with this chiral center here, and this is the acid form reacted with a pure form of an alcohol, right? This is completely, this is optically pure. Then we will get two types of esters here, got it? Because from if you see this oxygen, this can combine here on C double bond O, okay. So one will combine with this R form here, so this could be R and this is R, this could be S and R. So what we are getting, we'll get pair of diastereomers. So this pair of diastereomers, right, can be separated out because they will have difference in melting point, boiling point, density. So it is easy to separate by fractional distillation. Alright. So once you separate this 1 and 2, again hydrolyze that. So you will get acids and alcohols back. and these two will have separate boiling points. So distillate that, we will be able to separate out pure acid here, pure alcohol here. This is acid and alcohol, and here also we can get acid and alcohol, right? And this separation of recipe mixture is what we call it as resolution. I hope you remind that. This we have done earlier also, so I hope you should be able to relate. Any doubt in this? Okay. See, esterification is always reversible reaction, correct? And it does follow the Le Chatelier's principle, which means if any of this reactant is in excess, reaction will go in the forward direction. If in the product, if there is anything excess, the reaction will go into the backward direction. Okay. See, what are the types of questions that can be asked? We have done this similar type of questions in alcohols. Got it. So let us just revise them. This isotopic oxygen has to be in the product, okay, because we know that H plus H from here and OH from here are due. So we'll get a product C double bond O, OCH3 with this as the isotopic oxygen. Basic medium esterification doesn't happen. In case if we have dioic acid with diols, both side the esterification will happen and ring will be closed. Now O like this, double bond O, double bond O. So cyclic ester is formed. Check again, this O is present on oxygen, so that has to be in the product. So we'll get double bond O with this oxygen 18. You can see we'll have say this double bond O, this oxygen is connected with carbon having this 2-methyl. Next one, Kolbe-Schmidt process. Remember Kolbe-Schmidt reaction, where we will get salicylic acid first, COOH first, and this, suppose if I treat that with anhydride CH3 O C double bond O CH3 anhydride in acidic medium or AlCl3, what is the product you will get? See, this anhydrate acyl group will be connected with oxygen forming an ester, okay, and we would get this as O C double bond O CH3, this ester here with COOH. You know this, what do we call it? Aspirin. These are all the reactions we have done earlier, right? If I take one equivalent, you will always go for the side where there is less substituted, because nucleophilic nucleophilic addition is the rate determining step, if you recall, in acidic medium. So this OH is what gets connected here. So this H and OH will be relieved. So you will have the product like this. So this OH, this methyl would remain. Same logic applies for acid also. If you see, this acid has less substituted, this side of the acid has less substitution as compared to this side of the acid. So the ester formation will be on this side, C double bond O, OCH3 with CCH3, CH3, C double bond O, OH. Right. So try this one. In NaBH4, you know that it does not disturb acids, rather it will react with CHO. Okay. So what do we have? We will get this as CH2OH. Okay. COOH here. And then in the presence of H plus, esterification will happen here. So we will get this cyclic ester. Now see the general reactions of acids, right? What are the reactions that are usually taking place here? When we treat that with SOCl2, COCl2, CCl3, PCl3, PCl5, POCl3, in all of these cases, we will get acid chlorides, RC double bond OCH. What are the side products which are formed here? What are the side products we'll get? We'll get this as SO2 plus HCl right? Here we'll get CO2 plus HCl, got it? Here we'll get, this will become CCl2 plus HCl, okay, sorry, COCl and HCl, plus we'll get this as H3PO3. Here we'll get this as POCl3 plus HCl. Okay, I hope you guys are able to recall that. Last one we'll have POCl3 will have RC double bond O Cl, and rest of the part which will have, it will convert eventually to H3PO3. These are the reactions of acid to form acid chlorides. Okay. Next you see Hunsdiecker reaction. This also you have come across before. Formation of silver salt, and from there you are getting alkyl halides. Okay. Let's see what are the mechanisms. First we react with acid with moist Ag2O to form RBr, right? How does the mechanism take place? See, on reaction with Ag2O with RCOOH, we will first get a silver salt here, got it? And from here the mechanism starts, that we have RC double bond O, O minus Ag plus, on treatment with Br2 would become RC double bond O, OBr. This is acyl hypobromite. This is an acyl hypobromite form. So first we'll have an acyl hypobromite form and AgBr will get precipitated, and then RC double bond O, OBr will cleave homolytically to form this as RC double bond O, O dot plus Br dot. This is how the initiation happens. Either we use light or heat, it will give Br dot. Now this RC double bond O, which we got RC double bond O, O dot, we have seen this earlier that it would be unstable to give alkyl radical and CO2, and this propagating steps will make us react with this again iso halobromide plus R dot, right? So that will become RC double bond O, O dot and plus RBr, right? So these two are propagation steps, and this RC double bond O dot again reacts to give R dot, and that will keep on happening till you get RBr. Okay. So the important points here in Hunsdiecker reaction is that it has a formation of acyl halobromite, homolysis of acyl bromohalate is happening, carbon dioxide is coming out, RBr and AgBr are forming, right? There will be some traces of terminated product here. You can see these two can terminate and get ester form. So this is just to remind you, we discussed about Hunsdiecker before also. Okay. One good example here you can remember is this one. On the bridge position, on the bridge carbon, right? Generally we don't see carbocation or carbanion forming, but here in Hunsdiecker reaction you will actually see the product formation here. We can get this product as Br, okay, plus AgBr plus CO2, right? So this definitely tells us that the when it comes to free radical, right, it doesn't have to be planar.